Voting is a little different in a virtual meeting. Once logged in, you will see a video screen and a text box. Note the text box could be beside or below the video window depending on the type of device you are using. When the chairperson requests a motion,
I would like to ask for a motion to waive the readings of last year's annual meeting minutes and to accept them.
a pop-up button will appear showing the request and a button that says motion. We only need one member to click motion, and then once someone clicks it, everyone's button will change to say second. We only need one member to click that button as well. Stan, we have a motion and a second.
Any discussion?
If you have any questions about the motion, please use the text box to enter them when the chair asks for any discussion. Note, we'll allow an extended time for you to type in your comments. When any questions are answered, the chair will call for a vote.
Please select your vote so we can vote on this motion.
A pop-up screen will appear showing the motion and your voting options. Be sure to hit submit for your vote to register. When finished, click OK. It may take up to a minute to tabulate the voting results. Please be patient. The votes are in, and it's 152 yay and 0 nay.
The motion is carried. Thank you.
Voting is just that easy. Thank you.
Every employee I have spoken to are always pleasant and kind. They are thorough when explaining things and patient when I ask a lot of questions. Also, they helped me get a personal loan to help during the pandemic. It's been extremely helpful since I was out of work for a time.
Greylock is handling the transition to pandemic banking with grace. Though I miss the face-to-face conversations, I am still able to do the necessary business thanks to Greylock's customer service personnel.
You have helped my business for almost 20 years. Through recessions and coronavirus, through good and bad times, you are always there. Thank you.
As the Paycheck Protection Program became available, Greylock was extremely proactive in keeping us informed and reassured. Staff members stayed in close communication through this whole process, including the loan forgiveness process. This has made Greylock Federal Credit Union an unprecedented asset to all small business owners in Berkshire County. We would not have remained in business here if not for this partnership. Thank you so much.
During this pandemic, I have tried to avoid going into public places as much as possible. I love that I can deposit checks from the app on my phone.
Good evening, and welcome to the 86th Greylock Federal Credit Union annual meeting and our second virtual annual meeting. Thank you for joining us. My name is Stan Walczyk, and I've enjoyed the honor of being the chairman of the board for the past 3 years. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce Cindy Shagri-Raymer, our Vice President and Director of Community Development. Cindy is one of our facilitators tonight, and she has some basic housekeeping tips for you. Cindy.
Thank you, Stan, and hello, everyone. Please be advised if you wish to address the Assembly throughout the meeting, you must submit your comment or question in the text box located on this page and make sure you hit the send button. This is only our second virtual annual meeting, and we would like to take a minute to explain how this will work. In case you missed it before the meeting started, we'd like to share a short video explaining how the voting process works. Voting is a little different in a virtual meeting. Once logged in, you will see a video screen and a text box. Note the text box could be beside or below the video window depending on the type of device you are using. When the chairperson requests a motion,
I would like to ask for a motion to waive the readings of last year's annual meeting minutes and to accept them.
a pop-up button will appear showing the request and a button that says motion. We only need one member to click motion, and then once someone clicks it, everyone's button will change to say second. We only need one member to click that button as well. Stan, we have a motion and a second.
Any discussion?
If you have any questions about the motion, please use the text box to enter them when the chair asks for any discussion. Note, we'll allow an extended time for you to type in your comments. When any questions are answered, the chair will call for a vote.
Please select your vote so we can vote on this motion.
A pop-up screen will appear showing the motion and your voting options. Be sure to hit submit for your vote to register. When finished, click OK. It may take up to a minute to tabulate the voting results. Please be patient. The votes are in, and it's 152 yay and 0 nay.
The motion is carried. Thank you.
Voting is just that easy. Thank you. We have also learned that sometimes people with slower internet connections will not get to see the motion or second pop-up boxes before someone clicks them. Don't worry, you should still be able to ask any question and vote. Now, if you'd like to win a door prize, please make sure you stay online after the meeting concludes. We'll be announcing the winners' names and mailing your gift to you. Now I have the honor of sharing a pre-recorded video from our chairperson, Stan Walczyk.
Good evening. I'm sharing this message from our Greylock Community Empowerment Center on Kellogg Street in Pittsfield. I think I can safely say that everyone gathered for this meeting, if not everyone on this planet, has been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. To some, it was a loss of a particular way of life. To others, it was a loss of someone they held dear. Whatever your loss, we feel for you. Yet even in these unprecedented times, there are also many bright spots. Bright spots like those you will see in the video we play next. Sharing a few great stories from real Greylock members, just like you. Stories about our incredible team making a positive impact on the lives of our neighbors, our friends, our families, and maybe even a number of people with us tonight. That is Greylock's goal as part of this community, to have a positive impact on each other and improve the quality of life for all of us. How do we affect an entire community? One person at a time, one good deed at a time. Every single act matters. At Greylock, it's more than just a goal. Our vision is to enable our community to thrive. As a community cooperative, we know that to achieve community success, we must allow each individual to thrive. Whether it be through helping a single mom to improve her credit scores, through financial coaching, and eventually buy her home for her family, or through helping a business obtain a Paycheck Protection Program loan to pay its employees during the pandemic. Greylock understands the value of community and always puts members before money. This year, we're proud to present our first formal impact report to complement our annual report. This annual report assures all that Greylock is secure and able to weather the challenging times like we've all seen for the last 12 months. That in itself is a great feat that reflects the skills and agility of the entire Greylock team. The impact report, however, that's where you see many of the exciting things Greylock has done this year to help our community thrive. Our impact is not just through donations, but through volunteer time, donations of corporate resources, and all the products and services Greylock has developed to address the specific needs of our community, one person at a time. On behalf of the entire board, thank you for allowing us to be part of this wonderful collaboration. Now it's my honor to share with you a few examples of Greylock's commitment to support and to uplift our community. Thank you.
My name is Javier Fernandez. I'm originally from Peru. I came 1991 here. In 2010, I opened Alpamayo restaurant. I created this name because where I born, the place, we are in the mountains, the beautiful mountain in the world. The name is Alpamayo. I mean, talking about the land and the sea. I work hard to get this place open. This is authentic Peruvian food. The time you order, we cook in the right away, we serve in the moment. It's already fresh. You don't order, I don't cook. We have 8 employees for the summer and 4 in the winter. When the government announced the COVID was shutting down all the places, we so scared what's gonna happen. There's nobody coming here, maybe 2 to 4 orders all day. That's was really painful survival. No customers at all. I have apartments upstairs. At the restaurant, when I serve my employees, I have to give a rent free. What am I gonna do? That's the only way they survive. When I have the opportunity to say, the government saying we got help with the business loan, I have account in Greylock Credit Union. I asked them, they said, yes, we can help you with a loan. I was so happy because I was kept helping my employees to get paid. They give me help right away. It wasn't take too long. I was so happy with that. That long has helped me stay in business. Otherwise, I won't be in business because the first days I was working without pay. Thank you to Greylock for helping me that, give me the opportunity for long.
I'm Kate Luzon, and I live here in Pittsfield, Mass. I am a single mom. I have 3 kids. One of them is not really a kid. She's 23, but the other ones are 11 and 12. I was in food service pretty much my whole life, and I knew that I needed to do something different. I signed up for Berkshire Community College. Right before graduating, I took a budgeting class. It was a good class. It just wasn't enough. Being as it was a very basic class, I knew I needed more, and I knew my credit was just horrible, really, really bad. I went a long time without knowing how to budget for expenses, and I never owned a house, so I didn't have loan payments, but I managed to screw up my credit pretty good anyway. Right here at the Kellogg Street Greylock branch, there was another budgeting class, and I met the great crew of the credit counseling program here at Greylock, and they worked with me. Nobody wants to talk about their finances and how bad they screwed up. We were diving into all that nitty-gritty stuff and paying it off as I could pay it off. I had a lot of school loans that I was able to consolidate, and that helps your credit rating if you can get 10 individual loans all into one. My credit score went up over 100 points in a year, and honestly, I couldn't have done it without Greylock. I could call them up anytime, I could email them anytime, or even text. They really were very patient and kind. Sometimes people feel intimidated, right? To come into a bank, a financial institution, and say, am I worthy to be here? And they made me feel worthy at every step. On year 2 of working with the credit counseling group here, my credit score had gone up so much that I was able to qualify for a mortgage for a house. I just absolutely fell in love with the house. It was the 3rd house I saw. Be able to walk on my own 2 feet at this point in my life and have a house and make these memories with my kids that were all of our own. I think that they see me as a very successful single mom, and they're very proud of me. The way they look at me says it all. That they have a house of their very own. They each have their own bedrooms. I sometimes feel like crying because I feel so grateful that I was able to have this opportunity, and I just want people to know that this opportunity is for everybody else too.
My name is Michelle Lopez, and I'm the Executive Director of the Berkshire Immigrant Center. The Berkshire Immigrant Center is a nonprofit organization that provides low-cost and free legal services to the immigrant community and their family members. We also provide free citizenship classes to prepare for the naturalization interview and test, assistance in terms of finances, education, shelters, food programs, pretty much anything you can think of.
My name is Marta Escobar. I live in Great Barrington. I'm from Colombia. They help me with the process for my resident card and also to fill out the application for my citizenship. They help me to reunite it with my family in Colombia after 11 years. I have the fortune to see my mother again.
The majority of us at the Immigrant Center, volunteers, board members, and staff are either immigrants ourselves or have been immigrants in other countries. I not only got accepted as the executive director of the Berkshire Immigrant Center, but around the same time my husband was approved to work here in the United States, and we moved to the Berkshires and both got to start our new jobs. We understand how much it means to have somebody that you can speak to, feel welcomed by, and not feel that there's any judgment being passed on you while you're seeking assistance.
In this place, they have people who work with passion, with a lot of love. They are great human beings. We are very fortunate to have them in this area.
Immigrants enrich the culture of our community. They bolster our workforce. They bring fresh perspectives, new music, new food. They are the only growing population in Berkshire County.
On 2019, I have the opportunity to be a citizen of the United States, and it was a beautiful day.
I don't think there was dry eye in that room. People come to the United States for many reasons, and freedom is a word that means so many different things to so many different people.
A lot of opportunities to means to be free without fear. All my dreams I have can be true. I can continue with my studies, continue to work very hard for a better future for me and my daughter. Thanks to all the opportunities we have, my daughter and I, we are doing a radio show. The name of the program is Mundo Latino, Recordando tus Raíces, and our mission is to keep the immigrant community informed about all the services we have. And through the music, we try to keep our roots alive.
We are so grateful at the Berkshire Immigrant Center to have Greylock Federal Credit Union as part of this community, providing language access, smiling faces, assistance in buying a house, what you need to do to build credit, how to get your first credit card. We refer our clients from the Berkshire Immigrant Center to Greylock all of the time. They've been such incredible supporters. You've just touched so many lives. We are so thankful. So on behalf of the immigrant population and the Berkshire Immigrant Center, thanks to all of you.
Quiero dar mil gracias a Greylock Federal Credit Union por su increíble apoyo a toda la comunidad inmigrante y también a todas las organizaciones que hacen un maravilloso trabajo como el Berkshire Immigrant Center, que ayuda tanto a toda nuestra comunidad. Mil y mil gracias.
I'm Shanna Brady, and I am a wife and a mother to two amazing children, very energetic and spunky children, and I'm also a Greylock employee. I've been a Greylock employee for 18 years. Working from home was something I never expected I was going to do, that's for sure. I remember the day exactly. It was March 13th, and I had heard rumbles about maybe some employees being asked to work from home, and I was asked to go test some system compatibilities to make sure that everything connected, and I didn't come back. I was very happy when I heard that I was going to be able to work from home and be able to support my kids through their journey. My daughter was in 3rd grade at the time, and I had to relearn 3rd grade math, which was a bit of a challenge for me, even though I'm a banker. And then for my son, he was in preschool, and he has Down syndrome, so he has additional services that all of a sudden were made virtual. I don't think he's ever sat in front of a computer before. So there he was with his online class, and then twice a week online physical therapy, and then another 2 times a week online occupational therapy. My husband had just been hired on with the Pittsfield Fire Department, and he was just joining the academy. He wasn't able to be here. So it was very difficult to manage all of that, and I would not have been able to do it without Greylock support. I'm so appreciative that I was able to be home with them and really support the challenges that they were experiencing and having a better idea of what those challenges were. And I was learning right alongside with them. Greylock has invested hundreds of thousands of dollars just to allow their employees to work in a safe environment from home. Now there's over 170 Greylock employees working from home daily. It's amazing what they were able to accomplish in such a short period of time to keep their employees safe. For those that still needed to come into work, Greylock went out of their way to make it the safest possible working environment. Had it not been for the opportunity for me to work from home, keep my children safe while staying safe myself, I don't know how I could have done it. I don't know how they could have done it. I don't know where their support would have come from. It's challenging for all of us, and we're doing it together. I am so proud to work for an organization that supports their employees like their family. I've felt supported since day one.
I would like to call the 86th annual meeting of Greylock Federal Credit Union to order. And please note, the Assistant Clerk, Jamie Ellen Monchecki, has advised me that a quorum is present. Before we get started, I'd also like to acknowledge and thank our attorney, Dennis Egan, for participating this evening. And a special thank you to the marketing and the IT department for making tonight's meeting possible. Before I have our first vote, please remember to use the pop-up button to make motions and seconds. We only need one of each, so if the button goes away before you can select it, that just means that we're all set. For questions and discussions, please use the comment section on this page and remember to hit send. Now, may I have a motion and a second to waive the reading of last year's annual meeting minutes and to accept them?
We have a motion and a second.
Thank you, Cindy. Any discussion on this?
There is no discussion.
For voting, a pop-up will appear. Please select your vote and remember to hit submit. Can we please vote on this motion?
The votes are in, and it's 83 yay and 3 nay.
The motion is carried. Thank you. This year, we have an uncontested election for 3 openings on the board. As I introduce the nominees, I want to say how fortunate we are to have a group of community leaders serving on the board and supervisory committee. Their backgrounds cover education, healthcare, management, IT, human resources, finance, accounting, community development, and much more. It is this level of diversity that ensures the integrity of our credit union as we continue to move forward. I am pleased to introduce the slate put forth by our nominating committee. Colleen Holmes. Colleen is the president and CEO for Viability Incorporated and the former president and CEO of 18 Degrees. John Law. John Law retired as vice president for administration and finance and chief financial officer at Berkshire Community College. Peter Lopez. Pete is the senior manager at LTI Smart Glass in Pittsfield. May I have a motion and a second to instruct the clerk to cast one ballot for the slate of candidates as nominated?
Stan, we have a motion and a second.
Is there any discussion?
There is no discussion.
Can we vote on the motion?
The votes are in, and it's 81 yay and 1 nay.
The motion is carried. Thank you, and congratulations, directors. I would like to now thank the rest of our board of directors. John Bissell, President and CEO of Greylock Federal Credit Union. Crystal Blake, Project Manager at General Dynamics Mission Systems. Gerald Burke, President and CEO of Hillcrest Educational Centers. Tyrone Jackson, founder of Big Head Books, LLC, and co-founder of Read or Else. Kelly Kroc, Senior Advanced HR Advisor for General Dynamics. Sheila LaBarbera, Executive Director for the Berkshire County Retirement Board. Anthony Rinaldi, Executive Vice President of Fairview Hospital for Berkshire Health Systems. And me, Stan Walczyk, former President of O'Laughlin Home Care Pharmacy. The members of the Supervisory Committee include Allison Bedard, Audit Director at Adelson & Company, PC. Crystal Blake, Project Manager at General Dynamics. Angelo Borsello, retiree from General Dynamics. Lori Broderick Bean, Senior Accountant at McMahon & Vigeant, PC. Ozias Chuck Vinslet, Supervisory Committee Chairperson and retired CEO of the Credit Union of the Berkshires. Thank you, directors and supervisory members, for your commitment to this credit union. Now I would like to share a pre-recorded video of our President and CEO, John Bissell, before we hear the financial report for 2020.
Thank you, Stan, and welcome everyone. We are so glad to be back with you tonight. I want to first acknowledge the pain and loss experienced by so many in our community and in our organization. The loss of life, the economic hardship, the stress and the strain of this pandemic have challenged us all. To our Greylock employees, let me say how much I appreciate each and every one of you. From our tellers, our member service folks and phone reps, to our insurance and investment teams, and loan officers and our IT folks and our operations teams, you never flinched, you never backed down. You kept serving our community no matter what throughout 2020, and I thank you. To our volunteer board of directors, I cannot thank you enough for your supportive governance in these difficult times. A special thanks to our board chair, Stan Walczyk, who's provided steady leadership at every turn in the road. I'm grateful too for all of our healthcare workers, first responders, teachers, and everyone serving as our community's front line. This is a time of profound challenge and also of hope and opportunity. I'm so happy to welcome the employees and customers of the Roger Butler Insurance Agency in Westfield, Massachusetts, who joined our Greylock Insurance Agency just a few months ago. Welcome to the Greylock family, everyone. Also, I'm recording this message from our newest branch in the Greenport-Hudson area of Columbia County, New York. For years, the 1,800 Greylock members living in this area had to trek across state lines to visit a Greylock branch. Now they are enjoying this beautiful facility and working with an outstanding team of local folks from this region. This branch was designed with feedback from our membership. You wanted access to all of our products in one place? You got it. You wanted a place to learn about our mobile technology? You got it. You wanted a place that is fully accessible to everyone? You got it. And you wanted more meeting space for financial education? You got that too. And now we are bringing those same innovations to the Coltsville neighborhood in Pittsfield. As you may have heard, we are relocating our branch from the Stop and Shop Plaza on Merrill Road to the nearby Allendale Shopping Center. When we open this new full-service branch in the spring, we can offer you one-stop shopping with direct access to Greylock Insurance Agency, Greylock Investment Group, and many other support staff. Additionally, both of these locations will include space for financial coaching to help address the needs of folks who may have felt undervalued by the financial system in the past, or maybe just need advice from someone they can trust. It is our plan that these branches will become extensions of the Community Empowerment Center built in 2019 in Pittsfield's Morningside neighborhood. By providing free financial counseling, educational opportunities, and financial products designed to build credit and grow wealth for all, Greylock is doubling down on our commitment to help our community thrive. As Stan mentioned earlier, we are proud to share with you today our first ever annual impact report. Greylock's strong financial position, thoughtful investments, and clear priorities allowed us to focus on your needs despite the chaos and uncertainty of 2020. During the pandemic, we waived hundreds of thousands of dollars in penalties and fees. We paused payments for more than $200 million in loans. We provided $2.5 million in emergency loans for first responders. And between 2020 and early 2021, we provided more than $40 million in forgivable Paycheck Protection loans, saving more than 5,000 local jobs, from Hudson to Pittsfield and Williamstown to Great Barrington. And did you know we offer special loans to credit-challenged members? We do this responsibly, offsetting the risk through creative and resourceful community development principles. To share just one example, we offer a new road loan to people who need a car and also need some help with their credit score. Folks who use this new road loan save on average about $900 per year. That means in 2020, these borrowers collectively saved more than $600,000 on their loans. And as they pay on time, Greylock lowers their interest rates too. As you saw in the videos from our members tonight, Greylock finds solutions. Greylock creates opportunities. Greylock makes an impact on the daily lives of our members and our community as a whole. Why do we do this? Because we are more than just a financial institution. We are a cooperative dedicated to community development and financial equity. Our entire staff is committed to helping all members thrive. I have the privilege and honor to lead us forward in that mission. I work with one of the most dedicated teams of community advocates in this region. And when I say team, I mean our employees, our volunteer board of directors, and you, our members. Your participation in the cooperative credit union movement makes it possible for Greylock to do everything we do. Thank you for being part of this tremendous organization and for making a difference one person at a time.
Now I'm pleased to introduce to you Michael Stoddard, our Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer. Mike.
Good evening. Thank you, Stan. Seems we just had this meeting a short time ago, yet so much has changed since our September meeting. At that time, I was very cautious about the outlook for the year, but I'm pleased to say that the last 4 months of 2020 finished stronger than expected, producing a very solid financial performance year for your credit union. Let me take you through some of the highlights. Loans grew by $40 million for the year. This growth was driven primarily by strong housing market demand and the mortgage refinance boom we have experienced in our area and across the nation. Another factor that drove our loan growth was, as John mentioned earlier, the Payroll Protection Program. PPP provided much-needed emergency funding for our local business members and nonprofits. As you can see in the graphic up on the screen, our loans exceeded $1.1 billion. This means that the vast majority of our $1.4 billion in assets are at work supporting the borrowing needs of our members. On the same chart, you can clearly see that we experienced historic growth of over $160 million to bring total deposits to more than $1.2 billion. This deposit growth resulted from federal stimulus checks and direct deposits to members, PPP loans funded into our member business accounts, and members building savings during uncertain times. Since so many of our assets are invested in member loans, we pay very close attention to the health of our loan portfolio. This slide shows that the condition of our loan portfolio is very solid and getting even stronger. Delinquent loans as a percentage of total loans continue to move lower during 2020, from 0.92% to 0.72%, the lowest we have seen since 1995. And our net loan charge-offs as a percentage of total loans declined as well, from 0.25% to a remarkable 0.14% of total loans, our lowest level since 2006. With the onset of the pandemic early on in 2020, we were able to set aside additional reserves in our allowance for loan losses. This action leaves us well positioned to handle the economic uncertainty we could face in the months ahead. The next chart shows our healthy level of capital, which is significantly above what our regulators consider well capitalized. In a year with an economic crisis like 2020, when our members rely on us most to provide loans and safely care for their deposits, we had and continue to have the capacity to grow significantly to meet those needs, to fund additional reserves when necessary, and to remain solidly capitalized for the long term. In years of tough economic times, or years in which we expand or invest in technology, we can expect to see some temporary decline in our capital ratio like we saw in 2020. Our strong capital allowed us to handle all three of those things in 2020, yet remain very well capitalized at more than 9.9%. My final chart shows an increase in net income to a record level of $8.5 million. This is up about $1 million from 2019. There is, however, a one-time gain of $2.2 million included in the 2020 earnings. This gain was made possible by the opportunity to sell our restricted Visa Class B shares. These shares were allotted to us many years ago when Visa issued stock in their initial public offering. So without this one-time gain, net income would have been $6.3 million, or about $1 million down from 2019. This net decline in core earnings was nearly all pandemic related, which included setting aside additional loan loss provision, waiving a variety of member fees, extra cleaning and care of our facilities, as well as rapid deployment of work-from-home setups for nearly all of our support teams. So in summary, our strong balance sheet and capital levels, along with our steady earnings stream, enables us to meet our members' financial needs, even during the uncertainty that an economic crisis brings. As we look forward, I am pleased to report that the first 2 months of 2021 have us off to a good financial start, and I am optimistic for another solid year. We look forward to serving you this year and for the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. May I have a motion and a second to accept the Chief Financial Officer's report?
We have a motion and a second.
Is there any discussion?
Stan, there is no discussion in regards to the financial reports, but I do want to assure all of the folks that have been submitting questions that we will get to them after, since they are general in nature. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Can we please vote on the motion?
The votes are in, and it's 85 yay and 1 nay.
The motion is carried. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a report of the Supervisory Committee. I would like to thank all of our Supervisory Committee members for their diligence, especially our Committee Chair, Chuck Vincelette. This year, the report will be delivered on behalf of the Supervisory Committee by James McGough from our independent audit firm, Wolf & Company. Jim.
Oh, thank you. I'm an audit partner with Wolf & Company, which is headquartered in Boston and does business with approximately 300 financial institutions. We audited the credit union's 2020 financial statements and issued an unmodified opinion on those financial statements. And what that means is that the results are correct and accurate and no adjustments were necessary. In year 2020, the credit union overcame many obstacles to serve its community and its members, and we had to take this into consideration and address it during our audit planning. The credit union modified loans to provide short-term payment relief to borrowers who needed it by deferring payments. There are unique accounting consequences associated with that, and we did test that. The credit union's accounting and reporting for those modifications was consistent with the regulatory guidance issued in 2020 for credit unions. As a qualified SBA lender, the credit union originated payroll protection program loans to help small businesses in its community, and the accounting there was unique accounting guidance for PPP loans in 2020 also that we also looked at. As an essential service, the credit union remained open throughout the pandemic, with employees working remotely to safely deliver financial services. And management of the credit union facilitated our 2020 audit of the financial statements, providing access to all documents in electronic form, and by meeting with us throughout the year during video meetings and keeping us apprised of what was happening at the credit union during this unique time. For the credit union industry as a whole in 2020, the National Credit Union Administration, the primary regulator for credit unions, issued an annual report, and in their 2020 annual report, they acknowledged that there was financial stress in 2020 for the credit union system. Loan demand was lower, interest rates were very low, which can be disadvantageous for financial institutions, and there was lower earnings as credit unions reserved for expected loan losses due to the uncertainty of the economy. But in the end, and NCUA says this in their report, the credit union system went into the pandemic very strong and it remains healthy today. There are 124 million members in the credit union system. Total assets in the credit union system actually increased to 1.85 trillion as customers maintained a higher level of savings during these uncertain times. And the aggregate net worth ratio of all credit unions in the country was 10.3%, which is considered well capitalized. And based on those results, the NCUA concluded that the system remains healthy. The audited 2020 financial statements of your credit union show the credit union to be well capitalized with positive operational results. Loans increased by 40 million, or 3.8%, which includes 20 million in payroll protection program loans. Total deposits increased $163 million, or 15.1%, consistent with the trend that we have seen in our client base regionally and consistent with what the NCUA reported about savings increasing in 2020. The credit union's delinquency ratio is a measure of the ratio of borrowers who are not making the required payments to the total loan portfolio. At 60, it's measured starting at 60 days. Delinquency remained below 1% in 2020. The credit union's delinquency ratio is well managed and continues to trend in a positive direction. The credit union must maintain positive earnings in order to remain well capitalized as it grows and increases services. In 2020, net income was $8.5 million. Capital, or net worth, equals a credit union's total assets minus its liabilities. And it's often referred to as the economic shock absorber. And it is just one indicator of the health of your financial institution. The National Credit Union Administration, the credit union's regulator and insurer, considers a credit union to be well capitalized if this ratio is 7% or higher. Your credit union's net worth was almost 10% and well exceeded this regulatory requirement. In dollars, the excess above the well capitalized threshold is $42 million over and above well capitalized, and that protects the credit union and allows for resiliency and continued growth. The management team of your credit union deserves a great deal of credit for 2020 results, managing the institution, expanding services to members, ensuring continued profitability, and fortifying the capital position of the credit union. This was all accomplished during a pandemic and economic crisis. This completes our report.
Thank you, Jim, for that report. May I have a motion and a second to accept the Supervisory Committee's report?
We have a motion and a second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
There is no discussion.
Can we vote on this motion?
The votes are in, and it's 90 yay and 0 nay.
The motion is carried. Thank you. Before we adjourn, I would like to thank the incredible Greylock team for all their great services and hard work, especially during these challenging times. I'd also like to thank everyone for being here and participating this evening and for being such loyal members. At this time, is there any other business to come before the membership?
Stan, I'm going to address the multiple questions that have been coming through CU ballot throughout the meeting. So, John Bissell, I'll be directing these to you. We have a request from Mr. Sanjay Desai. If we get control over COVID by next year, can we go back to the live meetings, and that too at the Holiday Inn, Crowne Plaza, and have a delicious stuffed chicken dinner and wonderful dessert? Thank you.
Well, thank you for that question. I certainly hope that we are back together in person next year. We'll work hard to pick a great venue for it and pick a great menu as well. I know in years gone by, many of us enjoyed those chicken dinners at what was the Crowne Plaza, now the Holiday Inn. Other folks felt like a more casual format worked better for them, and we tried that at the Colonial Theater with an appetizer hour instead of a full dinner. But listen, I can't wait to get back in person with all of you. So that's our plan. That's our intention. We certainly hope that we can get past this pandemic. I encourage everyone to do everything you need to do to keep yourselves safe and help us put this pandemic behind us. So thank you for that question.
We have another one from Thomas Utch. The alerts that Greylock currently offers come a day after the activity they are alerting on. I belong to another credit union that offers real-time alerts. Is there a plan to get similar functionality at Greylock? Thank you.
That's a great question. We have looked at some kind of real-time text alert platforms. And we don't have any plans to implement that in 2021, but we are looking at that as an initiative in 2022. And we'd appreciate, if you don't mind, a follow-up with us, maybe reach out to our contact center. There may be other ways that we can create alerts in our system as it exists today, depending on what kind of alert you're looking for. And Cindy, just briefly, as that person was asking a technology-related question, I want to just acknowledge that we understand a couple of folks have had some technological challenges with the annual meeting tonight, and we apologize for that. Please know that the proceedings of the meeting are being recorded, and they will be available on the website later on this week. So we appreciate your patience.
We have a couple comments. I'll get to those. I want to make sure we cover all of the questions. Here's one from Mr. Brian Johnson. When will you start giving us higher interest rate on money in our savings accounts?
It's a great and very fair question, Mr. Johnson. A couple of years ago, as you recall, interest rates had been rock bottom and they started to rise again. And for us, that's a much better operating environment, and it certainly is for you as well. We want to have things in balance where savers are being rewarded and borrowers are being well served. And as rates were starting to rise, we found ourselves in that kind of sweet spot where we really prefer to be, where you can get a more fair rate for your deposits. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, there have been emergency measures taken by the Fed and other central banks to lower rates to zero. In fact, real rates are below zero in many, many ways. So this is an emergency environment. We absolutely hope it passes and that we can get back together in person and we can start paying you more fair rates on deposits. We don't know when that's going to happen. A lot of folks are predicting that this record low rate environment will persist for quite some time, but we would really look forward to the ability to pay higher deposit rates down the line. So thanks for asking.
Thank you, John. This question is from Claudia McGreer. Actually, I can answer this. She was curious as to how many people are online. Claudia, if you are still with us, we do have 161 online right now. So thank you. Here's a question, John. Wondering if you will be teaching or introducing alternative money such as crypto and or Berkshires.
That's a really interesting question. At this point, we don't have any plans for that. I think if we were to offer a class in cryptocurrency, we would probably work with a partner who's an expert on that. I certainly am not. But it's an interesting question. Certainly, there's a lot of interest in cryptocurrency. Many businesses have started to look at it. And I understand even the Fed is studying what its role might be for the Federal Reserve. So at this point, I appreciate that question. We'll think about that. I don't have any immediate answer that I can offer you, but we'll put it in a think tank and see what ideas we can come up with on an educational process for that. So thanks for asking.
Thank you, John. We have another question from William Mark. In light of Black Lives Matter and recent activities, what is Greylock doing to promote minorities to its board and or management?
I really appreciate that question. Our diversity, equity, and inclusion journey really started many years ago, more than 5 years ago. We've been committed to improving the diversity, equity, and inclusion across our entire organization for many years. And in light of the Black Lives Matter movement and the elevation in consciousness across the entire country, we have really recommitted ourselves to that work. It's something our board and our management team take very seriously. Excuse me. We've had a lot better success with our board, reflecting the composition of our board, reflecting the communities that we serve. And that's true also for our employee base. It's not true enough yet in our management ranks, and we are working hard on that. Some of the steps that we've taken, we are working with a recruiter now who specializes in diversity, equity, and inclusion. If you go to our website, you'll be able to look up what jobs are open at any given time. We've also had experts in inclusive hiring work with our HR team and our management team to really overhaul our hiring practice, to look for implicit bias and root out implicit bias wherever we find it. So we are very dedicated to this mission of serving the whole community and making sure that our employee base, our management ranks, our board, and our supervisory committee also reflect the communities that we serve. We're on that journey and we're serious about it. And I welcome your input. My email address for anyone who wants to ask further questions about that or get in touch with me is jbissell, JBISSELL, @greylock.org.
We have just a few more, John.
Yeah.
Patty A wants to know, will there be a Cheshire branch?
Wow. Of all the different questions I've been asked about where we might put a branch, I had not heard a question about Cheshire yet. Thank you for asking that. As you heard, I don't think we have that in the immediate plans. It's a fascinating question. We are going to relocate our existing Merrill Road branch over to Allendale, which is on Cheshire Road, but I know that doesn't count as being in Cheshire. So thank you for that question. We're always looking at how well we're serving markets and where are the gaps. Now that you've asked that question, we'll put that in our in our thoughts as well and keep an eye out for opportunities, but can't promise you that we'll be opening a new branch there anytime soon. I appreciate how dedicated the folks working in our branches have been to making sure we could deliver services through this really difficult time. That's what we've had our focus on. But hopefully, as the pandemic recedes, we can start looking for new opportunities as well.
Thank you. We have a question from Claudia McGuire. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, Claudia. I've seen local art in some stores. It's lovely. Is that something that you might do? So in our branches, John, do we have any plans on putting any of the local art up?
We have done that, actually. Many of our branches, including my own office at 150 West Street, feature art from our partners at CATA, Community Access to the Arts. So this artwork is created by people with disabilities. We purchase it from them. These are real working artists. And this beautiful work, really compelling work. And we've been very proud to partner with them on that. I think that's been the primary way that we've accessed local art from many of our locations now. And we do look forward to more opportunities like that. If there are local artists that you're aware of who are looking for those opportunities, please, again, have them get in touch with us. We're very open to that.
Thank you. We've got a question from Ronald Sims. Can we please fix our online bank button? It's very difficult for seniors to see it.
All right. I was not aware of that. I appreciate you bringing it to my attention. And I will have our teams look at that. I assume, Cindy, your understanding of the question would be maybe on our homepage, how a person navigates over to activate online banking?
That's what I'm expecting, yes.
Right. So thank you for that. We will take a look. I apologize for that difficulty. Was not aware of it before. And thanks for bringing it to our attention.
We've got a request from Dalton. So Mr. James Boyle would love to see us, or can we rather, put a kiosk like you have in Dalton in Cheshire. So Cheshire's on the map tonight, John.
All right. Shout outs to Cheshire. So it's a great question about the kiosk. We will be implementing ITMs, which are interactive teller machines. So it doesn't have the functionality of a full branch, but it has a lot more functionality than just an ATM. So that is a possibility that we could start to have those occur in more places. Again, I'll be honest, I have not studied Cheshire as a market yet for us to elevate our retail presence, but it doesn't hurt to look. So thank you for that suggestion. An ITM allows you to access a live human being, if you wish, a live teller to help with various kinds of transactions, in addition to being able to use the basic ATM functionality. You should see us implementing those throughout 2021 and then even more in years to come.
Thank you. I've got two things from Brian Johnson. One, he's got a recommendation for us. You should increase your interest on your savings account according to how much money people have in their savings account. 10K 1%, 20K 2%, 30K 3%, etc. What do you think about that proposal, John?
I think I owe Brian Johnson a phone call here. It sounds like he's got a lot of ideas on his mind. So Brian, we've different institutions, including us, have experimented with that approach in the past. We're also very mindful of equity and trying to be fair across the board. So we want to make sure that people who aren't able to have a large balance like $30,000 also feel like we're paying them fairly. But we're always looking at what the best ideas are. So thanks, and keep those good ideas coming.
We have another question from Claudia. What about a Greylock mutual fund?
That's fascinating. So when I think of a mutual fund, I think of a basket of stocks, equities that you own in a business. And as a credit union, we are actually precluded. We're not allowed to deal with equities. But our Greylock Investment Group works with our partner at LPL, which is one of the largest broker-dealers in the world. And perhaps they could work with us on something that would be customized for our members. I hadn't thought about that, but we could certainly take that up with our partners at LPL and see if there's something localized that we could do. I'd love to hear more about from you. Just send me an email at jbissell@greylock.org on what you have in mind for that. Love to hear more.
Okay, here's another question from Joe B. Mr. Bissell, I am excited that the Merrill Road branch is moving to Allendale. There have been a few photos on Facebook, and it's fun to watch it develop. Are you able to offer a drive-through, perhaps at the back of the building? That would definitely be a long-awaited welcome addition to this branch.
Thanks for that question. We did look hard. We thought about trying to add a drive-up at Allendale. And unfortunately, it's not optimal. The traffic flow really didn't allow for a good, safe way to do that. But we are very mindful of the need to keep our drive-throughs very accessible at Kellogg Street, West Street, Elm Street, and our other branches. We are looking at ways to make sure that the services we do offer at Allendale are very accessible under many different circumstances, including having an ITM out front. We're very hopeful that this pandemic will be over soon. But should we enter into more difficult operating conditions, we want to make sure that we can deliver all of our services no matter what the conditions are. So you will see some innovations brought to the Allendale branch that we haven't had before. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like a drive up is going to be one of them.
Thank you, John. I think this might be our last Brian Johnson question. And I'm not sure if he was going in a technical way, because I would, redirect him to our website. But he would like to know, are you going to be coming out with a calendar?
Am I going to be coming out with a calendar? Wow. Brian, give me a call. You'll have to explain to me what you have in mind, sir.
Thank you. We just have a lot of positive comments. People are very happy with, Steve is doing a great job in Williamstown, and they're just happy to be with Greylock and to be a part of this tonight. So in lieu of everyone's time and respect, I just want to thank you for the general comments coming through, and I believe we have asked and answered all of the questions that I have seen come through CU ballot so far. So thank you,
Cindy, and thank you for being such a great host.
Well, thank you, John, for answering all those questions, and thank you, Cindy, for giving them to John. Again, it looks like we've addressed all of the questions and shared the comments. Before we adjourn, I want to wish you all a healthy and prosperous year. I look forward to seeing you all again at next year's annual meeting in March of 2022, hopefully in person. Now I would ask for a motion and a second to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Stan, there is no discussion.
Can we vote on the motion?
The votes are in, and it's 87 yay and 0 nay.
The motion carries. Thank you. We will now inform you if you have won a door prize. Remember, these prizes will be mailed to you. Thank you again, and we'll see you next year.
Congratulations to our lucky 10 winners. And like Stan did say, we're going to be mailing these gifts to you. So if you've recently moved and you've not updated your address with Greylock, please get in touch with us ASAP tomorrow, because we're going to be using the address that you have provided to us on system. So our lucky winners tonight are Rachel Dean, Michael Durst, Patty Messina, Jane Ralph, Maria Romo, Lanny Santani, Kenneth Sun, Sanjay Desai, James Cause, and Merle Ferber. Congratulations, everyone. Keep your eyes on the mail. I hope you have a wonderful evening and you enjoyed our event tonight. Thank you, and hope to see you in person next year. Good night, everyone.